Hello, Gary Stearman with another Prophecy in the News daily update. Today, Tuesday, July 13th of the year 2010, and we have a special guest with us, Doug Woodward, author of this book, Decoding Doomsday. And Doug, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you, Gary. It's great to be here with you.
And we have talked with Doug. We spoke with him yesterday in this same slot on his first book, Are We Living in the Last Days, which is a remarkable book, remarkable for the way that it compacts a lot of information into a very understandable structure. Again, very much worth having. Your second book tackles subjects that sometimes people might say, well, Christians are not supposed to be talking about those subjects.
Well, it's a little over the top, as we might say today, because I am tackling some interesting subjects, but they're subjects that are very much a part of our culture right now. The whole issue of 2012, what's going to happen in 2012. And if you've walked into a bookstore lately, you may see an end cap just covered with books on 2012 and the history and so forth of the Mayans. And so I've been fascinated by that.
The secular mind out there seems to be preoccupied with the end of the world right now. 2012 is kind of code language for the end of the world. The movies, the books, the videos, the television programs about the end of the world, or things, superheroes who have magical powers, all kinds of supernatural stuff seems to be in the public mind right now.
It does indeed, and of course it's perhaps a curiosity as to why it is that all of these different things are kind of coming about at this moment in time, and of course the thing that may be driving it a great deal is the whole issue of UFOs, of extraterrestrials, the concept of chariots of the gods, and do the extraterrestrials actually influence our development as a species?
Oh, yeah. And by the way, as strange as that sounds, that question is being entertained. Evolutionary researchers are now saying, well, our genome came from the stars via the ships from other galaxies.
It's fascinating the conjecture that is current in our time today about these issues. And of course, the real question is are these really extraterrestrials, or are they merely spiritual entities of another dimension?
Well, when we pick up the Bible and look at the Old Testament, we see Baal, and we see Molech, and we see Ashtoreth, and we just go down the list of the old gods of the Old Testament, and the people regarded those gods as real. And the people, if you read Scripture carefully, the people didn't think they were worshiping imaginary gods. They thought those gods walked among them. And I think we're looking at the same phenomenon today.
Well, I think that there's certainly, if you look at the history of the last 100, 120 years, one of the probably long-term effects of the denial of the sort of spiritual truths of the Bible has been a search for some other form of spiritual truth.
Yes.
Our human species is basically, you might say, has gotten lonely in a way. It seems like that we don't want to be on our own by ourselves, and so we're looking for spiritual reality of a different type.
And you go back into the 19th century, and you talk about theosophism, spiritism, which was very big. I remember Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the man who conjured up Sherlock Holmes, was actually deep into spiritism.
Absolutely, and H.G. Wells.
H.G. Wells.
The famous Aleister Crowley.
Oh, yeah.
There are so many individuals, even Yeats, the great poet, one of his most famous poems is entitled The Second Coming. And people have often wondered what it was that he was contemplating. He talked about a beast that was trudging towards Bethlehem, waiting to be born.
And I think we all know who that beast might be.
I think we do know who that beast might be.
As a matter of fact, he has a mark.
Well, it's interesting to me, Gary, is that so many of the books on the 2012 story are written by individuals that have been influenced by taking hallucinogenic drugs. And that it's very possible that these same drugs, these magical mushrooms and DMT, that these same drugs may have been influential in enabling the Mayans to see things and to learn things and to know things that we as a modern technical society have perhaps only known for the last 70 or 80 years.
And so they came up with their calendar, with their astronomical knowledge, by traveling among the old gods via chemical highways.
That appears to be the case. In fact, one of the most popular books, and perhaps one of the best well-written books, is The Return of Quetzalcoatl by Daniel Pinchbeck. Fascinating story of his own experience taking drugs, the drugs of Africa, the drugs of South America, and his encounters with various spiritual beings, as well as walking amongst the crop circles of England.
The old gods are waking up, so
They
to speak.
are
Now,
awakening.
why would they be waking up right now?
Well, it's of course perhaps a possibility that there are angelic appearances, both good angels and not so good angels, that are showing evidence in our times. It could be because they believe their time is growing short. It could be because that the spirituality of the masses has waned. Perhaps there's more room for evil spirits or evil forces to become more dominant
As
in our
Christianity
society.
diminishes,
That's correct.
The alternative increases.
That's right. It creates a vacuum, and that vacuum is being filled by other types of spiritual forces.
Who are masquerading, by the way, as high-tech travelers from the stars, which they are not. They are the old gods. And by the way, if you want to get a real insight into the whole crop circle mystery phenomenon, you're going to find it in Decoding Doomsday. We're not going to have time enough today to talk about it, but you can find it in the book, which we're offering to you for $19.95 plus shipping and handling. And by the way, when you order it, we'll include a free copy of the latest Prophecy in the News magazine so that you can see what we're all about. Hope you subscribe. We have articles every month. We catalog all the best in Christian literature so that you can order that. And we try to stay on top of what's going on in the prophetic world. News pertinent to Bible prophecy. And we bring you books like this one, which I think, Doug, is on the cutting edge of what's happening right now.
There's, of course, one of the chapters I talk about is Dan Brown as an alternate historian who's had some fabulous bestsellers, The Da Vinci Code, The Lost Symbol, Angels and Demons, and actually talk about how he sets up a history that influences America even today, moving from the Knights Templar to the Freemasons, and today to an America that's heavily influenced by the thought of the Freemason group.
The Mayans, myth, mystery, magic, strange superstition, it's all put together here, but the most important thing to me is that Doug does it in a biblical context. You don't stray very far from Scripture, right?
No, I certainly am, and in this book trying to reach out to perhaps the many that are not believers, that are fascinated by prophecy, and they're fascinated by the potential for doomsday. And what I try to communicate is that if you're really interested in knowing the facts, there's not really that much that's being told, because the work of the Mayan scholars is about 20 years in the making. The work of the Christian scholars is over 2,000 years in the making, or almost 2,000 years. And so there's a lot of facts that you can learn from the Bible about the last days.
Well said, Doug.
Very good.
Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you very much.
His two books, Are We Living the Last Days? Yours for $18.95. Decoding Doomsday, $19.95 plus shipping and handling in either case. And we'll be glad to send along a free issue of Prophecy in the News magazine. This is Gary Stearman wishing you a great day in the Lord. And remember our motto, which J.R. Church originated so many years ago: keep looking up.